Welcome to Crowned and Called. I'm Melinda Quiros, your host, and today we have a beautiful guest, Miss Krizel Rodriguez, the Reina of Leadership, and I'm excited to hear all about what you're doing, who you are, and most importantly, your hard season that you overcame. So I'm not going to steal any more time. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to be here today to share my story and all the things that we're doing with Leading Lady Network. I am the founder of Leading Lady Network, and our whole mission is to help women of all shapes, shades, sizes, and ages gain visibility in their leadership, learn how to be a leader so that they can make differences in their communities and their organizations. And so I have had the privilege of working with so many wonderful, that literally are all shapes, shades, sizes. I mean, fit the mission perfectly.
Nice.
And we're going to continue doing that work.
Awesome. And how many years have you had this organization?
So we are now going on our third year. We've
Okay.
been in it for 3 years, but it feels like this past year has really been the most influential.
Wow. And you're based out of,
Round Rock.
okay, Round
Yes,
Rock.
we're based out of
But
Round
you
Rock, Texas.
also mentioned you have
I
ambassadors.
do. So I have 25 ambassadors that
Wow.
are literally all over the United States, from California to Florida. And the whole reason we have ambassadors and that our mission is really important. It can help every single woman, but I know that not every single woman's going to relate to me, to my story, but they will relate to Tessie, who's in Louisiana, or Fallon, who's in Florida, and their stories. The mission's the same, but the delivery is from them.
I love that. It's your voice times, you just 10x.
That's the whole point, is to help women
Yeah.
everywhere.
So take us back to a hard season before everything changed for you. Tell us who you were before that hard season.
So, right before all of the hard season started, I was the person who was in the background. I was never the forefront. And part of that was because I truly believed that because of the way that I looked, because of my weight, I did not meet this certain standard of being visible and being out there. And so I was the person who was in the background helping everybody else achieve their goals, because I thought that that's what I was meant to do. I was meant to help everyone else and put myself to the side. And I created something that I call a two story, where it's you tell yourself that you're to fill in the blank, right? So I was too fat, I was too short, I was too brown, or whatever it is. Everyone has that two story, and it's the excuse that you allow yourself to not achieve your goals, to not attend the party. My dress is too tight. I am too tired. The lies that you tell yourself so that you keep yourself back. And that is the story that I told myself for years and years that kept me hidden. That's where the start of the rough season
Yeah.
happened,
Yeah.
because I thought, well, if I were to do something drastic, maybe it would help solve all of my problems. So I truly believed that the one thing that was going to be the answer to all of my problems, right? I was in a really rough marriage. I wasn't in a career that I enjoyed. I just was really just waking up, going through the day, and then going to sleep. There was nothing that I was doing that I could say was fulfilling. And so I thought that the answer to all of my life's problems was I needed to lose weight.
Yeah.
And if I were thin, then I would be able to accomplish my goals. I would be able to go to school. I would be able to be loved. I would be able to, be successful in my marriage, and have all the friends in the world and all of those things. Those were these things that I kept telling myself,
Yeah.
that this was the one thing that was going to help me reach all of my goals. And it was the one thing that was holding me back. And so I decided to get weight loss surgery.
Okay.
And I went and got the lap band done. And I remember the night before, I was having these reservations, that gut feeling that you get, like maybe you
Yeah.
shouldn't do something,
Yeah.
Y'all listen to that gut because it's telling you something. It's
Don't
giving
do
you a
it.
warning. It's that God send warning that you should listen to, but I didn't. I proceeded with the surgery, and immediately that night I started running a fever, but I kept going. And then a week later, I got extremely sick. I wasn't able to drink water. I wasn't able to do anything. And I went to the hospital and found out that.
All right, I wanted to pop in. Now, if you're enjoying the story, please do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel, like this channel, share this channel. Okay, enough talking. Go refill your coffee because the story gets good.
The lap band had to be removed because it was eroded.
After surgery, how many days after before you went back?
So after the first surgery, it was about a week later that I started getting sick. I had to get airlifted to Lubbock, and I had the lap band removed. And the doctor said, well, just heal up. We can try this again later. Once everything heals, we can go from there. The problem is that I never healed. So I started noticing that where I had the surgery, the wounds were not closing. And then new ones started to appear that weren't originally there. And this went on for a while, quite a while. And I would go back to the doctor, and he's like, nope, just let it heal. It's just going to take some time. But then new ones started appearing, and then I realized something is really wrong.
Yeah.
Something is not right. They sent me to different doctors. They're like, nope, you just have to heal. And that was the same thing that I kept hearing over and over again. You just need to heal. There's nothing wrong. Yet these wounds are not healing.
Yeah.
They're getting worse. There's more and more. And I went to every single type of doctor you could think of. I went to infectious disease, gastro, everything that you could think of. I traveled all New Mexico, Texas, Arizona, trying to find answers, and no one could tell me what was wrong. Meanwhile, I was getting treated with home health, and we started getting really sick to the point where I couldn't work anymore. I couldn't eat anything. So I ended up losing weight, just not the right
the way you wanted
way.
it to.
Exactly. It was worse than before. I was literally sitting. I couldn't sleep in the bed because of the pain. I slept on the recliner for about 2 years. I don't even remember how I found out about this certified nurse practitioner in Roswell, New Mexico. He was not accepting patients, but his wife was a general practitioner. So I went to her out of desperation. She asked me, is there anything else that you need? And I was like, well, as a matter of fact, I have these wounds that won't heal.
Oh.
I was a way to sneak in.
Okay.
Because her husband was the wound expert.
I
So I went through her,
Yeah.
and at that time he came in, and he's like, let me take a look at this. It piqued his interest enough because he knew something was wrong too.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had these wounds for 2 years. We began a treatment plan. He also couldn't figure out, but he didn't give up. He said I needed to go to the Mayo Clinic. And that's where, after 2 years of not knowing if I was going to live, I finally got the answer. I had an infection that was 1 in 1 billion. And my story didn't end there. It was a year of treatment with 3 IV antibiotics every 6 hours. Yes. So it was surgery and having this IV pole that I was hooked up to the majority of the day. I called him Ivan, my boyfriend, just to make light of it,
Yeah,
because
what
you
can
have
do?
you have to make light of situations that are tough when you don't know what is going to happen. And I
Yeah.
didn't, but I knew that if I survived this, after he told me, we're giving you the strongest antibiotics in the world, if this doesn't work, I don't know what will. And so when you hear that, something just shifts in your mind.
Yeah.
And you tell yourself, okay, if I survive this, I'm not going back to that old person, the
Yeah.
one that was on the sidelines and watching everyone else achieve their goals. It was going to be me this time.
And sometimes you have to be broken to find the successful woman that God wants you to be.
Exactly.
You have to be stripped of everything. You have to go through the fire to come out successful on the other end of it.
You do.
And I think we all will walk through a fire at some point in our life.
Mm-hmm.
These women that doubt themselves have to have that person to say, you can do it.
Yes.
Hey, I'm living proof. I'm standing right here, a living testimony that you can walk through the fire, whatever your fire is, and come out successful on the other end.
And that you're worth it.
Yes.
You're worth fighting for yourself.
Yes.
And that was something that prior I was never fighting for myself, because I was fighting for everyone else. But if I don't take care of myself first, there's no way that I can help others. And that was part of the learning process as well. At this point in my life, I couldn't fight for anyone else, because if I did, I wouldn't be alive today. And so I felt in the beginning that it was a little bit selfish, but at the same time, I realized no, it's not selfish, because what's selfish is if I don't take care of myself, and then my family is without me, or the future that I have is no longer existing because I didn't want to fight for myself. And so I knew that I was going to have to not worry about anything else and just concentrate on getting better.
If I'm not the best version of Melinda, I cannot be that good person that pours into somebody authentically.
Right.
If I'm not whole, if I'm not healed, if I'm not healthy, if my mental state is not good,
Exactly.
I can't give back to somebody.
Imagine if I actually did take care of myself. All those people that I was helping while staying in the background, I think I could have been a bit of service to them and help them even achieve more because I was taking care of myself. And that was a really big takeaway from all of this. And it's why I do what I do today.
I love it. I got another question for you.
Okay.
What did the season take from you that people could see? And what did it take from you that no one could see?
So when you're ill like that, there are definitely, I think strangers wouldn't have known, but the people that knew me knew that something was wrong, right? It was a physical illness, although they couldn't see the scars, they couldn't see the wounds because they were covered. That was something that people could see. They could see that I wasn't myself. They could see that I was still not wanting to be involved in anything. I kind of withdrew. That was something that people noticed right away. And it was because I was stuck. I was literally stuck in life, but I was also stuck in this illness that I didn't know what it was. And so I questioned. I hid in the house and watched reruns of Everybody Loves Raymond and Castle and all of those things, and I wasn't present anymore. Even though I stayed invisible, I was still there. You know what I mean? Even though I wasn't the focus, I was still there. And so that was definitely something that people noticed right away. The part that they didn't notice was just how much I was struggling. They didn't see it because I didn't tell them. I wouldn't tell them all the things that I was going through, the weekly blood draws, the testing. I'm not sure why I didn't say it, because when you are going through this, it's kind of, you don't want to admit it to yourself either. And I think that was part of the problem because there was a few months there that I had just, okay, well, I guess I'm just supposed to heal and that's it. That's what everyone's telling me. And so it just became part of the routine of dressing those wounds and just being a part of life as best as you could, but I was not feeling well. I was not myself. And so because of that, I kept it to myself. I didn't want people to ask me what's going on. I didn't want people to notice that. I didn't want that to define who I was at the time. And so I just kept it to myself. My parents knew, my siblings knew, but anyone who was outside, they didn't know all the things that I was going through and trying to find what was wrong with me. And even then, I was doing rounds of antibiotics that were just making me even more sick. I was getting wound stressed. I was doing all kinds of things, and none of it was working. I was seeing, going to holistic doctors.
Wow.
I got very desperate at that time
Yeah.
to find answers, and no one could tell me. And at the same time, I was fighting a really bad time in my marriage. And so, not having that support, going through that, being sick, I mean, it was just a season of, when I look back, I can't believe that I even lived through it. When you have someone that is not there, who is on their own, and you don't have the strength to fight for
Right.
it because you're trying to keep yourself alive.
There's no way you can give 100% if you're not 100%. It's hard. But you also, when you get married, you know,
That
it's
was the deal.
in sickness and in health, dude. Come
Yeah,
on.
that was supposed to be the deal, and that wasn't the deal. And so I knew that was happening in the background, and I really had to make a decision of, do I want to fight for this?
Yeah.
Or do I want to fight for myself? It was years of me going through this before I finally made the decision to just concentrate on myself.
Yeah. Got another question for you. What did you believe about yourself in that season that you know was not true?
I believed, again, that I wasn't worthy enough because I was at this certain weight. And I felt that in order for me to fit in order for me to be respected, in order for me to be even loved by my husband, right, that I had to reach this certain size. And now, and even I teach this within Leading Lady Network, in that confidence and believe in yourself is not a destination that you reach. It's not when you're at a certain size or a certain whatever it is. It's through these difficult times that you're going through. It's through the difficult conversations. It's through the experiences that you're having that you start becoming and believing yourself, but you have to allow that to happen.
Right.
And so when I look back at it, even though it's quite amazing and it almost feels like a completely other life when I go back and think about it,
Yeah, you're like,
I
that's
can't,
me?
I can't even imagine it anymore. Even though I lived through it, it's kind of like two separate parts of my life. And when I tell people about it, they're shocked.
Yeah. The people that know you today that didn't know you then, they're shocked, I'm sure. They're
Oh,
probably
absolutely.
like, no way.
Even the transitions that I've made, but when I go back and look at it, I know that I had to. I know that I had to, because even now when I feel like, why am I doing this? Or it's not perfect. It didn't happen overnight where I am now. There's still questions. But even then, I know, I'm like, obviously, God did not help me survive this 1 in 1 billion infection for no reason.
Right.
So I know what my purpose is now. I know what it wasn't back then. And that's really what I truly believe in. That is completely untrue what I was telling myself. Because I can be at this size and lead. I can be short and still stand tall on stage.
Yeah.
I can be all of these things and still accomplish what I want to accomplish. And I did. And I have been. And I'm going to continue.
You are becoming.
And I'm becoming, and I'm helping others along the way.
Yes, I love that. A couple things. So the thoughts, your mindset. If you think a negative thought, you have to immediately combat that with a positive one. You
Absolutely.
have to also recognize that, you know, Jesus doesn't give us fear. He doesn't give us negative thoughts. Those come from the enemy. And when you can immediately combat it with something positive,
Exactly.
your life switches. You said that you looked back and you like, I don't even recognize that person.
Not at all.
If I hadn't have changed and had allowed other people and God to pour into me, I'd still be stuck.
And that's the trap. I call it the evil queen, because we end up being our harshest critics, right? And And even if we have people, we don't even need people to tell us all of these things, right? Because often we tell ourselves these lies and we allow them to keep us from, again, those two stories that keep us from doing things. But rather than saying, I need to fix this or, do something about it, one of the lessons that I teach is turn that into, okay, even though I am overweight, or even though I am short, even though I can still do these things. So it's not I'm too short or too fat or too old or too young or whatever story you're telling yourself, switch it to even though, because it's not really about fixing it and doing all of this. Because again, it's not a destination that you reach.
Yeah.
It's
I like that.
It's really just accepting and knowing that you can still accomplish those things no matter what. Now, that's not to say don't take care of yourself, right? It's not to say doing all of those things, but don't wait on that to do what you want to do.
Don't. Tomorrow's not promised, ladies.
Exactly.
Viewers.
Exactly. And that is one big lesson that I have learned is that
Firsthand. I mean, my goodness.
Firsthand.
You went through a scare. I mean,
not knowing.
I don't even know how to walk through 24 months of uncertainty. Like, that's hard.
And it was just, I was being sneaky with going into this doctor and trying to find, because that's, you reach a point where you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. And that's what I had to do. And luckily it turned out to where I am today.
Yeah.
But
had you not gone in and done that,
I probably wouldn't be here right now. Because one of the things that I found out when I went to Phoenix and finally got diagnosed, in that it was only a centimeter away from hitting my liver. So luckily, this infection is a very slow growing infection. And because I was overweight, by the time it was working through my body, it took a long time to be there. But it was now at the point where if I hadn't gotten treatment at the time that I did, I'm not sure that I would be alive today. So what's funny is that me being overweight, it was actually what saved my life.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? When I had the lap band removed, because my immune system was already so low, I contracted it through the surgery the second time.
The woman that you are today sitting here, if you were to look back, where do you see God's part in all of that?
It was a literal crossroads. It was a literal crossroads. And that I was finally diagnosed. I was starting to get treatment. And then that's when my eyes started opening to how horrible the life that I was living before, not just in taking care of everyone, but in this marriage that was not a loving marriage. And so I had made the decision to leave because it was suffocating. I was going through this illness. I was starting to get better. And meanwhile, I had this going on with my marriage. And so I packed up the little bit that could fit into my car and was at the stop sign. And if I turn left, I was going to Phoenix. Or if I go right, it's coming to Austin. I sat there for a while at that stop sign. And I was about to turn left to go to Phoenix when I got a phone call, which is very rare at 2 a.m. And it was my brother who was living in Austin. And he says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Ralph, I'm literally sitting here at the stop sign trying to decide if I'm going to go to Phoenix or Austin." And he's like, "Well, just come here." And I really felt that was
Godsend.
Yeah, because my brother was calling me. He never calls me at that time, ever. I don't think he's ever called me at that time since. And here's the crazy part. I got a flat tire literally at the midpoint of Artesia, New Mexico to Austin. And it was Sunday. There was no tire shops open. And so I called my brother and I'm like, I think I'm going to have to turn back or do something because I am I'm literally at the halfway point. He says, nope, let me call our cousin, see if they have a spare. And they drove. They drove from Austin to where I was to make sure that I did not go back. And this was a full day because I left at 2 in the morning. I was there early in the morning. They didn't show up till late at night by the time we got everything fixed. And they brought the spare and we rode till it took almost 24 hours, a little over 24 hours for me to reach Austin. But it was because he did not let me turn back. But
so
there
he
was
called you to save you once. God sent him to save you once.
Yes.
And then you doubted.
Yep, I got that flat tire. I'm like, is this a sign that I'm supposed to go back?
And then God said, girl, no. And he sent your brother again.
With my cousins. And they all drove over to help me in the middle of nowhere. We rode the whole rest of the way on this spare.
That just opened my eyes so much. Like, you walk through your hard seasons and you think, okay, God, I'm going to do this. I got this. I'm good. And then you start hearing the lies,
Yep.
the doubt,
Yep.
you're not worthy, the
Yeah,
two story,
that's two,
right?
yep.
And then God says, no, you are my daughter.
Yeah.
You are crowned and called for this moment.
Yes.
And he shows up again. So tell me, what this season that you walked through, what did it teach you about your strength?
You know, what's really funny is that I always knew I had this in me. I knew that I had this strength and resilience. If I go back in time and I look at myself as a teenager, I had this confidence and glow. And it was the person who I ended up marrying later that started shutting it down to the point where I didn't feel like I had it anymore. Even though people around me were telling me the complete opposite of that story, that's the one that I believed. Wow. That's the one that I took in. And that's the one that I believed for 14 years.
That was the person that you loved and trusted with everything. He was your other half.
Right. And so I remember one time, this teacher of mine, she's someone who has always been very influential. To this day, she and I communicate.
Teachers.
Teachers are great. As a matter of fact, my first TEDx is a tribute to the teachers that helped me throughout. But I remember in her class, I wasn't really paying attention, obviously. I was, because she had asked us to talk about who we thought was a leader. And so in my head, I was just thinking, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? While all the other students were talking about who they considered a leader. And then one girl, she's like, well, the person that I automatically think of is Krizel. And, of course, I'm up in my head trying to figure out who I think is a leader. And then I hear my name, not realizing that she just meant me. Like, she's out of all the people in the world, at this age, she considered me a leader. And then a couple of students over, there was another student, and he was like, well, I thought exactly the same thing. The first person I thought of was Krizel. And I had forgotten about it because it wasn't until I had left my marriage, I was getting treated, I had finally gotten my own apartment because I literally left with nothing. Wow. Nothing. And I had finally got a job and the apartment and everything where I rebuilt by myself, where I was sitting alone. And I was about to start crying because this was the first time in my life that I was ever alone, ever. And I was about to start crying when I reached over and grabbed a business magazine. I don't remember which one it was. And the first question it asked was, who do you think is a leader? That memory came back about these two students who had named me a leader at that age. That's where all of it started again, where I started feeling like I've always had this strength.
Purpose.
I've always had it within me. I just let someone, and then I let myself believe this story that wasn't true. Even though everyone else was telling me the complete opposite.
When we walk through hard seasons, you have to have that moment of being alone.
Yeah. That realization.
You have to close doors. Mm-hmm. You have to disconnect. Mm-hmm. sometimes you have to distance yourself from people and things that just steal your light.
Exactly.
And I think being alone can sound scary, but I think it's a necessity when you're trying to get to the other side of that new woman, that becoming woman. Well, I think it's just amazing what you've shared so far, that your situations don't, your hard seasons don't disqualify you from success. They don't disqualify you from this world. So that's what I'm realizing as I walk through my hard season, that everybody's opinion about who I am, those words, those opinions don't disqualify me from moving on. They don't disqualify me from success or from being great and amazing. I like to end with this to wrap things up, because our viewers can listen to a story, but I think it's impactful if they can have something to take away after they turn the TV off. What can you tell a woman who's in the exact same season maybe that you were in? What can you leave her with to take the next step?
That leadership looks exactly like them, exactly the way they are right now. And I made a promise to myself that if I were to survive this, I was going to accomplish all of my goals. And one of that was going back to school. I just finished my MBA, being a pageant, because I was told that I wasn't beautiful enough to be. And I just won my first national pageant a couple of months ago.
Wow.
One of it was to be a parent, going through finding a new partner and trusting, and then going through fertility treatments and IVF to get this beautiful daughter. And once she came, that's when I knew what exactly my purpose was. I had gone through all of these things, and I wanted to make sure that she never goes through anything that I had to go through. And then I realized it went deeper. It's not just her. It's other young girls. It's other women that I don't want ever to believe that two story. So the thing that I would leave them is, right now, the way you are, you do not need permission to be powerful. You can go out and be powerful right now, no matter what your shape, shade, size, or age is.
I love it.
Even after all the stuff that I'd gone through, I really coined pageantry into what Leading Lady Network is today.
I love it.
And how we celebrate women. And one of the things that we do for women who are joining our program, our ambassador program, or even just becoming a member of Leading Lady Network, is giving them a crown. The moment you see a crown, it just brings a smile to your face. It feels really good. You feel special. And so I thought, why not help women leaders who are struggling to feel that, to be visible, to give them something to remind them just how powerful they are, what a queen they are. So I brought you a gift. This is the crown that we give to our members at Leading Lady Network. And
that
so
is beautiful.
Here is your crown.
Thank you so much.
Go.
Did you bring your crown and sash to show it?
This is the Sovereign Miss. I am the Grand Sovereign Miss for 2026. Now, here's a crazy story. You know how earlier I said that I reached out to the pageant director, founder of the Plus America? Yeah. Well, she founded this new pageant.
Oh.
And so 20 some years later, I am in her pageant that she did called Sovereign Miss. This is a pageant for women who are 40 and over. And I am the first Grand Sovereign. So this one is the Leading Lady Network one. This is the one that I wear alongside the queens who are members of Leading Lady Network. And this sash says La Reina of Leadership. All of our members, especially the ambassadors, have their own sash and crown that they wear as well. Wow. And again, it's to remind them just how powerful they are.
I wish you guys could see this up close. This thing is amazing. It's beautiful. And
it's fun to wear.
What did it feel like when that was put on your head?
I was in complete shock, but I knew that all of these trials and tribulations are what helped me win, because I told this story to the judges when they interviewed me. And one of the questions was, what was a hardship that you've gone through? I'm like, well, let me tell you. Let me tell you. And let me tell you how I've been able to use that lesson to help women, to help my daughter.
Yeah.
And that's the mission we're going to continue. So whether I wear this crown or not, that's the mission that is going to take me until I'm no longer here.
Well, it's been a pleasure and an honor to have
Likewise,
you, a
thank you.
queen on
Thank
Crowned
you.
and Called. I mean, that's fitting. Like, this is awesome.
It is fitting.
So yes, I can't wait to have you back on for a part 2.
Yeah, let's do it.
Of what you're doing with Leading Lady Network.
Okay.
And I will make sure to have all of her contact information in the description. How to connect with Krizel.
We have so many ways for women to get involved. And so if you're wanting to grow your visibility, if you're wanting to grow how you communicate, or if you want to just hang out with some really cool ladies, we are more than welcome to come.
I love it. We're supposed to do life together. So again, everything will be in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and most importantly, share it, because it helps another woman. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, before we go, I want to remind you, Crowned and Called, it's more than just about sharing stories. It's about showing up for women in hard seasons in a real way. That's why we created the Crown Fund. The Crown Fund, it exists to support women walking through difficult chapters. It provides practical help, encouragement, and hope. If this podcast has encouraged you and you'd like to be part of helping another woman feel seen and feel supported, you can give to the Crown Fund. Or just share this episode with someone who needs it. Every gift and every share helps us reach one more woman who needs to know that she's not alone. So thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for giving. I'll see you next time on Crowned and Called.